Namaste, everyone. Om. Mujiji Ki Jai. Anantaji Ki Jai. Thank you for tuning in and listening today. And thank you very much, so much love for our masters, Guruji Muji and Guruji Anantaji, for bringing this light to the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. If you can let me know in the chat window if there are any difficulties, I'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, I'm just going to begin. Om. Let there be peace for all beings in the world. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Today, I'm going to read from the essence of the Ribhu Gita. I'm reading this edition. This is the Sri Ramana edition from the ashram. I very much enjoyed to share this with you. I'm joined here also today by Nimai, who's sitting over here, so we have Sangha in the room with us too. I love you all. The essence of the Ribhu Gita. One of Sri Ramana Maharishi's favourite traditional spiritual works was the Ribhu Gita. The Ribhu Gita forms the sixth section of the Sanskrit work known as Shiva Rahasya. It is the teachings of Lord Shiva in Mount Kailash to his devotee Ribhu, from whom the Gita derives its name. Bhagavan often referred to the Ribhu Gita in his talks with devotees and seekers, and he is reported to have said that if one repeatedly read chapter 26 of the Ribhu Gita, one could pass spontaneously into samadhi, or the natural state of self-realization. Bhagavan's first attendant, Palaniswami, had brought a copy of Ribhu Gita to Bhagavan's attention. Later in life, Bhagavan related how surprised he was, at the time, to hear an exact description of his own state recited in the Ribhu Gita, and that it had been experienced by others and was the bliss of the self sought after by all true seekers. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. The essence of Ribhu Gita. Benedictory verses to Shiva. Salutations to the Supreme Lord Shiva, the pure awareness in the sky of consciousness in the heart, by meditation on whom Ganesha, Gua, Mother Shakti, who is the embodiment of Shiva's grace, and myriads of devas, saints and devotees, have attained their cherished goals. to Nataraja. From the sky of consciousness of the heart springs forth the dancer Nataraja with his blissful consort, freedom. To the delectation of his devotees, who are thus liberated forever. Unto that, Ananda Natesa, do we render our devout salutations. To Ardhanariswara, unto that form whose left half is the mother of all manifestation, and whose right half is the father of the same. The jingle of the gems enclosed within the hollow golden anklet of whose foot is the source of all scriptures. And whose three eyes, fire, the sun, and the moon, are the illuminants of the universe. To that form be our devout salutations. May that devout form ever be our protection. To Shiva, Shakti, Vinayaka, and Shanmukha. Salutations to Shiva, the Lord of the universe of infinite power. To Satchitananda Shakti, the mother of the universe. To Vinayaka, the dispeller of all impediments to freedom. And to Shanmukha, the Satguru, who dispenses to his worthy devotees the divine wisdom of Shiva self, leading to salvation. The essence of Ribhu Gita. The following verses constitute the teachings of Shiva to Ribhu, who in turn transmits those teachings to his disciple, Nidaga Rishi. The treatise goes by the name Ribhu Gita. The universe was neither born, nor maintained, nor dissolved. This is the plain truth. The basic screen of pure being awareness stillness, devoid of all the moving shadow pictures of name and form of the universe, is the sole eternal existence. Some may argue that this universe of duality, multiple existences, is a factual second reality, clearly seen by the senses, operated by the mind. But then, are the senses anything apart from the mind? Can they function without the support of the mind in which they are embedded? What is this mind except a bundle of thoughts? What are thoughts except evanescent ripples in the still, limitless ocean of pure being awareness self, which is the soul existence without a second. The existence of the illusion of silver in mother of pearl is not a reality apart from the reality of mother of pearl, which is the basic reality. The illusion of the universe is based on the mind, which again is an illusion based on the still awareness being self. In the unitary, undifferentiated still ocean of existence awareness self, body, senses, mind, intellect, and jivas, embodied souls or jivas, are nothing but evanescent ripples, not apart from that soul self. The universe of name and form, the embodied creatures and their creator, mind, desire, karma, action, misery, and everything other than the self are merely thought formations projected by the powers of the self on its screen. Self. The state of firm abidance in that thought-free, alert awareness self constitutes integral perfection, yoga, wisdom, moksha, sahaja samadhi, the state of Shiva, and the state of Atman self, which scriptures proclaim by the title of Brahman. There was never a mind, nor any of its countless forms like world, jivas, etc. There isn't the least doubt that all these are the form of the eternally undifferentiable Supreme Brahman Self. This is the truth. The one who hears this great secret diligently and understands completely abides. I have a devotee bothering me here. The one who hears this great secret diligently and understands completely abides as Brahman Self. Greatness of Vidya Mukta. With all objective knowledge banished, with no trace of thought or nescience, with all the three states of waking, dream, and sleep, wiped out, with all thought of death and birth abolished, and ever established in the spontaneous blissful state of Brahman self. The condition of the Vidya Mukta cannot be conceived, and much less expressed in words. Thank you, Atma. The continued repetition of I am self-Brahman constitutes the soul mantra japa connected with diverse gods. I'll just read that bit again. The continued repetition of I am self-Brahman constitutes the soul mantra japa leading to mukti, liberation. All other mantra japas connected with diverse gods should be firmly eschewed, as they aim at mundane objectives other than the self. All other mantra japas always entangle one inextricably in the bondage of worldly enjoyments. Satchitananda self, Shiva, and his worship. On the eternal and infinite screen of Satchitananda self, Shiva, by his own power, Shakti is projected as the moving shadow picture of the universe in manifestation, and into that again it is absorbed in dissolution. All luminaries, like the sun, the moon, the fire, the stars, and lightning, derive their luminosity as a gracious gift from the Shakti inherent in the screen of self-Shiva only. Though bright in themselves, they can only obscure and cannot reveal the Shiva screen which they cover up. Out of fear of that Shiva, their creator, devas and asuras, gods and demons, are ever alertly engaged in their ordained duties. That Shiva must be meditated upon and realized to be the self by making the restless mind stay still and alert after it has been adequately restrained and completely prevented from the pursuit of sense objects, namely the shadow pictures on the screen of the self. All shadow pictures removed, what remains is pure awareness. The spotlessly effulgent screen. Thus, Shiva reveals himself spontaneously as the sole eternal Satchitananda self, the very essence of the nature of the worshipper. The Jivan Mukta. The Jivan Mukta is a person liberated during his lifetime who continues to have consciousness of the body and the world as Brahman, along with his firm abidance in his Shiva self. He ever abides in this blissful peace of Satchitananda. He is poised rock firm in the conviction that he is not the body, and that his being is the sole existence. The sole alert awareness, bliss of Shiva Self Supreme. The Jivan Mukta has his consciousness completely dissolved beyond recognition in his Brahman self. Eternally alone in himself, he is ever lost in the enjoyment of the bliss of his Brahman self. The Vidya Mukta. The Vidya Mukta is free from the least trace of thought. He abides all alone in his effulgent, pure awareness self, in intense, unbroken bliss, totally oblivious of limited forms, in a state of Mahamunam, stillness of body, speech and mind. He is the pure embodiment of Satchitananda, all pervasive as ether, infinite as the sky, all alert with awareness, spontaneously abiding as the perfect Brahman self in a state of still, unbroken, peaceful bliss. There is not an atom apart from the self, which is the integral and differentiated perfection of whole being. Soul, world, and creator are inseparable from the self. The reality of these is the reality of the self. All ignorance and illusion, all objects, inert and living, all beings and non-beings, all the five elements, all the diverse worlds, all bodies and the lives that arise in them, not being apart from Brahman self, are Brahman self only. Existence alone is. For even non-existence acquires meaning only in existence. Simply put, everything exists always as Brahman self only. All objective knowledge, all thought forms, all visible objects, all things heard, all questions and answers, all the food consumed, and all other illusions, not being apart from the self, should be regarded as Brahman self only. Therefore, one should practice the habit of regarding everything as Brahman self only, until all thought of things other than the self is lost. This condition, once achieved, should not give room for any thought and should ever abide in Mahamunam, peace of total stillness. Anything seen as other than Brahman self is bound to cause fear and trouble. Therefore, it behoves one to stick to the single attitude that everything sensed is Brahman self alone. In due course, even this one thought must be given up in order to abide firmly in the free, undisturbed, blissful state of the sole Brahman self. The total discarding of the mind is alone victory, achievement, bliss, yoga, wisdom, and liberation. The sacrifice of the mind is in fact the totality of all sacred sacrifices. The firm denial of the existence of the mind and the firm belief in the existence of Brahman self is the sure way to the conquest of mind, leading to the experience of the sole effulgent self. This next section I highlighted. If one gives the slightest room for the thought that the mind exists, pure awareness itself will vibrate as the ruffled mind, which is the parent of all trouble and illusions. Therefore, one should ever abide in the conviction that there is no mind, and that the pure awareness self is the sole existence. This is the easy way to conquer the mind with all its vagaries. There is no such thing as the troublesome mind. No world of names and forms, not the least bit of ego. All these are nothing but the perfect Brahman self, which I am. In this conviction, one should abide firmly until one achieves the state of sleepless sleep, which is alert peace eternal. And now we come to the true samadhi. The true samadhi. To hold on to the conviction born of self-inquiry that I am no doubt the screen, Brahman's self, and the world, the picture thereon, though evanescent, is no doubt I am self only. And to abide still and blissful in that conviction is the acme of all sadhanas. Like divine worship, charitable gifts, spiritual austerities, mantra japa, and samadhi as well. The self alone is the spontaneous self-effulgent awareness. That alone is eternal bliss. That alone is existence everlasting. That alone is all-embracing perfection. The sole Godhead, without a rival, and the sole primordial stuff of the universe. In the conviction born of this experience, one should ever abide as the soul I am, the Supreme Self. Sahaja Samadhi. Remaining alertly aware and thought-free, with a still mind devoid of differentiation of self and non-self, even while being engaged in the activities of worldly life, is called the stage of Sahaja Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the natural state of abidance in the self when all differentiation has ceased. This is called Akandakara Vritti, the eye of infinite perfection, as contrasted with the I am the body notion of those who have not realized the self. The maturing of Sahaja Samadhi. Abidance in Sahaja Samadhi is the hallmark of a Jivan Mukta. With progressive development towards this state, an intensity of blissful peace is attained. Leading on, to the 4 successive stages of perfection in Samadhi. Nothing short of this Sahaja Samadhi will be of any avail in destroying the fearsome cycle of births and deaths. That realized person who abides in the Brahman self and who has lost all feelings of differentiation of self and non-self is the Jnani or Mukta Purusha. Such a Jnani is rare to find even by searching amongst millions of people. If one has the lucky opportunity of getting his darshan, one attains purification from all his sins. And what is more, such a person's ego gets liquidated at once. So beautiful. Darshan of the matured Jnani constitutes the acme of purification of baths taken in sacred waters, divine worship, mantra japa, spiritual austerities, charitable acts, and devotional worship of Lord Shiva himself. To find and to gain access to the sacred presence of such a Jnani is the luckiest of opportunities that one could ever obtain in this world. Worshipful service rendered unto such a Jnani Satguru quickens one's spiritual wisdom to attain the bliss of Jivan Mukti. If continued further, it bestows on the disciple even the status of Vidya Mukti. Therefore, if one is keen on being released from bondage into the freedom of Mukti, the one infallible means of achieving that aim is the loving and worshipful service of the Jnani Satguru. Firmly established in the self, undisturbed by the least ripple of thought, as still as an idol of stone or wood, dissolved completely in Brahman self, even as water is in milk, with awareness devoid of all impurities of thought and drowsiness, standing clear as the pure sky, the grandeur of the Jnani's Nishtha, the firm stance in the self, defies thought and expression. The sine qua non of Mukti is Shiva's grace. that in which the whole universe is born and into which it is absorbed in dissolution, is the Shiva self. Devoted worship and meditation on that Shiva self of pure consciousness alone will attract Shiva's grace, which is indispensable for liberation. I feel to stop now and for us to perhaps just sit in silence for a few minutes and perhaps contemplate our great good fortune at having these two gurus in our life, Srimuji and beloved Ananta. Perhaps I'll just read that final passage again before we sit. Darshan of the matured Gyani constitutes the acme of purification of baths taken in sacred waters, divine worship, mantra japa, spiritual austerities, charitable acts, and devotional worship. Of Lord Shiva. To find and to gain access to the sacred presence of such a Gyani is the luckiest of opportunities that one could ever obtain in this world. Worshipful service rendered unto such a Gyani Satguru quickens one's spiritual wisdom to attain the bliss of Jivan Mukti. If continued further, it bestows on the disciple the status of Vidya Mukti. Therefore, if one is keen on being released from bondage into the freedom of Mukti, the one infallible means of achieving that aim is the loving and worshipful service of the Gyani Satguru. Firmly established in the self, undisturbed by the least ripple of thought, as still as an idol of stone or wood, dissolved completely in Brahman self, even as water is in milk, with awareness devoid of all impurities of thought and drowsiness, standing clear as the pure sky. The grandeur of the Gyani's Nishta, their firm stance in the self, defies thought and expression. So let's now just take 5 minutes. Om. Om. Let there be peace among all beings of the universe. Let there be peace. Let there be peace. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Ramana ki jai. Papaji ki jai. Mujiji ki jai. Anantaji ki jai. Sangaji ki jai. Thank you, beloveds. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Love you so much. Om Namah Shivaya.